Hate Crime Awareness Week is about highlighting the very real consequences for victims of being a victim of hate crime. It's about understanding the real difficulties that they have to put up with and suffer as a result of being a victim of hate crime. It's also about getting people to have confidence in coming forward and reporting hate crime to Greater Manchester Police. We really want to stop hate crime in Greater Manchester, but we can't stop it if we don't know about it. So Hate Crime Awareness Week is about Greater Manchester Police, the Crown Prosecution Service, all of our partners and local authorities working in our communities and with voluntary groups to highlight what hate crime is, asking people to have confidence to come forward, and most importantly, sending a very strong message. We want to stop hate crime, but we can only do that if people come forward, report it, and let us really make a difference to their individual lives. Hate crime is a really odd phrase, and people don't always understand what hate crime is. But very simply, hate crime is any crime when, in the opinion of the victim or of anyone else, that it was motivated by hatred. And that hatred can be many causes. It could be religion, it could be race, it could be disability, it could be transgender identity, sexual orientation, or, here in Greater Manchester, belonging to an alternative subculture. So anybody who belongs to one of those groups or has characteristics of one of those groups who is a victim of crime, and in their opinion that the crime was committed because someone hated something about them, then that constitutes a hate crime. And Greater Manchester Police and the Crown Prosecution Service have special measures in place to be able to bring those crimes through to our courts and to be able to ask for special sentences for people who have committed crimes motivated by hate. And it's, it's very hard sometimes to get a head around what hate crime is, but simply it is a crime that's motivated by hatred. And that's what we need to get across to the public to give them the confidence to come forward and tell us their own experiences. Here in Greater Manchester, I think we don't really know the full size and full extent of the amount of hate crime that does happen in our communities. Officially, we receive about 4,000 reports of hate crime every year here in Greater Manchester. But I'm sure that's probably just, the tip of the iceberg. There are many experiences and many victims who suffer hate crime across Greater Manchester who just don't come forward and they don't tell us about their experiences. And one of the real difficulties we have is we need to stop hate crime, and do so we need to be able to respond and be able to know about it. So we're encouraging victims to come forward, tell us about the true size of the problem, tell us about their experiences. That small number of crimes, I'm sure, in reality is far bigger. Hate crime is something that is really something Greater Manchester does not want to happen, and is something we're very not proud of in our communities, but we've got to work together to make a difference. If you are a victim of hate crime, the most important thing is to come forward and tell the police about it. Now, there's a very simple way of doing that. If it's a crime, it's an emergency, then you dial 999 and you bring it to our attention. Or you can dial 101 and let us know about a crime that you've suffered that you believe to be a hate crime. But many victims really don't feel comfortable coming forward and telling the police in that way. And therefore, what we have is different ways of reporting hate crime across Greater Manchester. You can do it anonymously online using the True Vision website at www.reportit.org.uk. Or there are reporting centres across Greater Manchester. You go on the website, you can find out where they are. Some people feel uncomfortable telling the police about their experiences, and that's why we've made it easier for different communities to be able to go to different places within their own communities to report hate crime. We've got to be able to provide the facility for us to really understand the size of the problem. What I do know is that victims of hate crime suffer very personal consequences. Sometimes it lives with them a very long time. And I'm always very impressed the way that people do come forward and talk about their experiences. We're going to be uploading a video shortly of a victim who has experienced hate crime in Greater Manchester. A young girl who's deaf and who suffered quite terribly at the hands of people, bullies, who were harassing her because of her disability. I want you to be able to watch that and understand the implications of being a victim of hate crime. The courage that this young lady is showing in coming forward and telling her story will send a very strong message across Greater Manchester. If she can report it, others can too. Have the confidence to come forward. Have the confidence that Greater Manchester Police and the Crown Prosecution Service will support you, and most importantly, do everything we can to stop that hate crime from happening. And that is in everyone's interests.